Okay, moving on. Influencers.
Oh, depends on the type.
Yellow flag?
Yellow flag. If they're like, they make relationship content, red flag. If they make dance videos, I feel like green flag.
Damn, I'm a relationship TikToker. Thank you for calling the Heartbreak Hotel. How may I assist you today?
Hi, I think I'm ready to check in.
Perfect. We'll see you soon. Hello, and welcome back to Heartbreak Hotel with Caitlin, Aaron, O'Neill. Today, I have Sabrina Lassegue.
Hello.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Get
Thanks
into
for having
it, baby.
me.
Of course. Thanks for coming. I'm so excited.
Me as well.
All right. I have to ask, first of all, how old are you?
I am 23.
Because sorry, go on.
I almost said 21 for whatever reason. How old are you?
I'm 23 as well. I only asked because I was doing some research on you. I found some things. She has a very, very impressive resume. All right. So far, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Let's go over it. You're an actress.
Yes.
You're a director.
Yes.
You are a boxer.
Yes.
You're a producer.
Yes.
Crazy. Former dancer.
Yes.
All right. Pageant girl.
Yes.
Model.
Yes.
Writer. And an activist.
Yes.
And am I correct in saying that you're the CEO of Yellow Rain Productions?
Yes.
All right. Insane resume at 23. What you got you started like on the path that you're on now?
Since I was a kid, I always say like I grew up on the outskirts of the industry.
Yeah.
I did like Broadway as a kid and off Broadway, did Lion King, played young Nyla, toured for dance, did a lot of dance commercials, modeled for different companies like Target and Gap. And then I was just always making movies and acting and doing commercials, and went to normal school, graduated high school early, went to college, and then started my company. And then been acting and making movies ever since.
Impressive. Speaking of college, you went in New York, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you've been in New York, you've been in LA, notoriously the two worst cities in the world for dating. Which one is worse? Which one have you had better experiences in? Tell me about it.
I had worse experiences in New York,
Okay. But
I think New York guys are better to date, even though the experience, it was just this one guy.
Okay.
But well, actually, it was a few. But I would say, though, in terms of like serious dating, New Yorkers are more into serious dating.
Okay.
And they're like not really exploring all their options. I think LA boys are like, oh, I can go to this party, so I have access to this girl that I follow on Instagram. Or like, it's so easy to DM someone that's like your influencer crush or something and just be like at a party with them like 3 hours later in LA. Yeah. So everyone's like, oh, I have options. Yeah. And I want to explore them and yada yada. So versus New York. I think also LA, if you date someone in LA who lives in like OC, like I was dating a guy in Huntington. I live in the Valley. Yeah. That's a long distance relationship at that point.
Honestly,
not a fan. And like, I can really like you. The guy I'm seeing now lives kind of a little bit far from me, but like is worth the drive in my opinion. But like you have to be worth the drive in order for me to be like, I want to get out of bed. And I think guys feel the same way here. Yeah. And then in New York, it's like super easy to be like, let's meet at this coffee shop. Or like you can kind of go on like a walking date. I went on a walking date when I went back to New York. Yeah. And this guy was like, just meet me for breakfast, like clear your day. Yeah. And he like took me to like this bagel shop in Brooklyn. We like went to around, it was like a walking date. It was like a whole day affair. It was like we stopped at different places. It was like we stopped at a bookshop. We went to this music store, you know, stopped at a coffee shop. We're talking, we're hanging out in the park. It was like hitting different spots. It's not a completely planned thing. It was kind of spontaneous thing. Let's take the train into the city, yada, yada. That's fun so time. Cute. Like you can kind of go wherever and go with the flow in New York. I feel a little bit more. Also things close later in New York where like you can go get late dinner or be like, I'm on set.
I miss that so much.
Yeah. And then like, let's meet up afterward. Here it's like, if I'm done at 10, it's like, okay, there's no way I'm seeing anyone today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch.
What about you? You're from New York.
I know.
What
I
are
miss
your-
it so much. But I never dated anyone in New York. I know. I only ever dated, the whole time I lived in New York, I was dating a guy who lived in London, which I feel like is the best city for dating.
Really?
I do. Have you ever dated a London boy?
No.
A European man?
European man, yes.
A European
London,
man?
no.
From where?
Italy.
Okay. Is that...
And Sweden.
And Sweden?
Yes.
2 of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Soccer players.
Both soccer players.
Both soccer players.
Okay. Do you have a
dying.
type? Professional athlete?
I
maybe?
do not have a type of professional athletes. Please no. Please no. Immediately no.
We have some experience with that on this podcast.
Absolutely not. I don't know how people do that. No. No, thank you. So London boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was that like?
And I feel like guys in London or in England and maybe in Europe in general, I'm not sure, you'll have to tell me your experience, but they're like so much more willing to commit and like they want to be in a relationship, they want to get married, they're not messing around too much. I have a feeling that wasn't your experience.
No, that is actually very true.
Okay.
When I think about it, they're
Yeah.
very family oriented.
Yeah,
and
100%.
It's a different vibe over
Yeah.
there. Did you go a lot to London?
Yeah, I did go a lot. I think at the time, like I had a very flexible schedule, but so that worked out really well. What about you? You traveled to Italy to meet this Italian man. Am I wrong?
I did go.
And you hadn't met him before?
I had no. Okay. That was a very interesting experience. I went there. I hung out in a hotel. We couldn't hang out in the same hotel because they're like getting tested and they had trials or whatever.
Okay.
And so he had his room. They had like security making sure that all the players are in bed by a certain time. I'm hanging out in a hotel by myself for like 3 days.
So he invites you to go to Italy.
Yes.
He puts you up in a hotel that he's not staying in.
Yes.
Are you seeing
He's
him at
in
all?
the hotel.
Okay.
But we're not on the same floor and we're
Right.
not in the same room. So I was
Did
just
you
hanging
see each
out.
other at all?
Not for the first 3 days. I was literally
You were
like, we
there alone
text.
for 3 days.
Yeah. So I wasn't seeing him at all for the first 3 days. Then finally he's like, oh, you want to go on a date? I was like, sure. I'm in the country
I've been here.
to see you, but okay. So we wound up hanging out after that. We went on a date. It was really cute.
Yeah.
Very fun time. But I was like, not really my vibe. You're really busy, which I get. Like, I'm also really busy, which
Yeah.
is like why we couldn't hang out when he was here.
Yeah.
And we kept missing each other. And that's a pretty common experience for me. Like I feel like a lot of the guys I talk to, usually I've met them however long ago, or we'll develop a friendship, or it's like mutual interest, but it's like I'm usually so busy that everyone's like, cool, gonna let her do her thing. And usually it winds up working out later on or something. And it's like the friendship develops first, which is usually really good.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, even if they wind up sucking as a partner, they're usually good as a friend. So
Yeah.
I'm like pretty much friends with
Oh,
almost
that's so
all my
nice.
exes. Like every guy I've talked to, I'm pretty much friends with. There's only one I'm not friends with. And that's a very interesting one who keeps trying to come back into my life for the past month and texting me. But everyone else I'm friends with. I'm like, I know their girlfriends know me, they're where we dated. Like we don't hang out like one-on-one or anything,
This
but
is
like
the craziest thing I've
they'll
ever
call
heard.
me, they'll ask me advice. So they're like, I helped one of them pick out his engagement ring for his girlfriend. Like, yeah.
That sounds sweet. Do you
It's
know
like-
the girlfriends?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I'll hang out with the girlfriends. I don't
Okay.
hang out with them on one-on-one.
Got
But,
it.
Like,
That
it's
sounds
like a
so
normal
respectful.
friendship.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you together long? How many of these exes are there?
Like I only have 2 like real we dated fully. I count you as my ex
Got it.
exes.
Yeah.
Then I have guys I talk to, which is it's not a long list, but I know the internet anyway. But I'm friends with all of them,
Yeah.
and so it's like pretty normal and chill vibes. And it's like even like guys that I would be maybe just like there's not like that many guys I'll just randomly hook up with. I don't randomly hook up with anyone. It's usually
Okay.
like a situation of like we're hooking up for a long period of time,
Yeah.
but like maybe we don't have any interest, like a friends with benefits situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
But
I
like,
had like a mutual friend. We had like a mutual ending to our friends with benefits relationship.
Yeah.
And it was just like super normal. We
Okay.
worked together since then.
yeah.
We talk. We'll go on live together. We're in public. Like it's not like an issue or anything. And that's like pretty normal, I'd say, with every guy. It usually ends in a way where it's like even if they're shitty, I'm like, you suck in this way, but you're really great in this way, so we can stay friends. Yeah.
Oh, that's good, I guess. I've never heard of someone being friends with all of their exes. And then what happened to you're not friends with one ex?
Yes.
What, may I ask? Why
this
is
was
that?
terrible.
Okay.
Just a bad, terrible guy. And he'd like have girlfriend. I don't do the thing of like, if you're talking to me and you have a girlfriend, I don't do that. And he did that. Like he talked to me and then he'd go date someone else. And like we fully dated. This is like ex and like would
one of the two.
Yeah, would have other women. And then like gaslit me completely. And then like 6 months later said, well, I haven't had sex since blah, blah, blah.
Oh
and God. I was like, with who? Like, what? And I remember that February, it was in February, I was like, come visit me for Valentine's Day. He was in New York. I was in LA. He refused to come. And I kept being like, he has a routine. Like at the time we weren't exclusive, but he has a routine of like, my only rule was like, if I ask about it, just tell me. Like, I'd rather know than, like, look stupid.
Yeah.
And even if it's a situation, like, I'll keep seeing you and this is what you need because, like, long distance, whatever. I was like, I just want to know. So if I ask, like, be honest about it.
Yeah.
And so he has a routine. Like, he'd see girls. He'd match with a girl, like, on Tinder, Bumble, whatever. Invite them over. Have them over. Like, talk to them for, like, 30 minutes. Hook up with them. Cuddle them, hang out with them, kick them out at exactly 11:42. In February, he doesn't text me a whole night until 11:45. And I said, did you just have sex with a girl? He's like, no, we should get you a trampoline for how many conclusions you like to jump to. I was like,
did he say that to you?
Yes, he sent me a voice note saying this. I was literally there like,
he's a comedian.
Oh, okay. And this man, like, swore up and down. He calls me. He's like, oh, my God. Like, honestly, it's really frustrating with, like, how you let your insecurities of how men have treated you in the past get to you. I was like, dang, like, I'm so sorry. I went to and started therapy after that because I was like, dang, I need to work on myself.
That's happened to me.
6 months later, this man says, I haven't had sex since February. I was like... So when I said, and then he's like, what? He's like, he realized, he's like turning red. He's like, what? No, I meant like, I haven't thought about sex since, you haven't thought about sex in February? It's June. It's June. You haven't thought about sex since February? He was like, fuck.
You started therapy. And he knew that.
Yes, I had sex with a girl in February, that day that you asked me. I should have just been honest about it. I was like, you're joking. You're joking. Goodbye. Yeah. Immediately. Like, all you had to do was be honest the first time. Crazy. And I'm fine with it because it's not like we were exclusive to each other.
Yeah.
Cool.
We brushed past, first of all, insane. Crazy. I see why you're not friends. Second of all, I think we brushed past this routine thing a little too fast. First of all, what's the routine? Second of all, how do you know about the routine?
I was one of the girls on the routine. No. The first time we met, I was one of the girls on the routine. And I was like, this is a very odd time. And he was like, I normally kick girls out right about now. I was like, 11:42. Like,
he told you that?
Yeah. And then he was like, but you can stay over. And I was like, because we'd just met through a dating app at the time, and I was like, I don't really feel comfy staying here, so I'm gonna go. That's cool. And then he was like, okay, cool, whatever. Next time I saw him, same thing, and I was like, oh, you're really serious?
That's a real routine.
This is a real thing you do. Then I met a girl at Columbia who also hooked up with him, and she was like, he also kick you out at like a weird time.
She asked you that?
Yeah. And I was like, what's a weird time? She was like, he literally kept insisting I have to go. Right? Like rushed me out at exactly like 11:40 something. I was like, interesting. And then he like seriously told me like this was a regular thing. And if he was hooking up with other girls, it would always be like he starts texting me after around 11:40 something.
Okay. Interesting. I've
Very
never heard of anything like that.
He also has OCD diagnosed. So I feel like that plays a tiny factor.
There might be a little bit of a correlation.
What's going on there. I never really dug into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not your job. I mean, he needs a therapist, really. They can handle that for you. All right.
Well,
so when he was hooking up with other girls, was he cheating on you? Like, were you together? Have you ever been cheated on?
I have been cheated on. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aww.
And then also guys that last year I was talking to a guy for like a really long time. And then he says to me one night, like, I realize I want to date you. This has just made me realize like anything I'm going through, I can get through with you. His grandma had died. Okay. And I was like, I had an event there that night, like a premiere for something that had to do with me. I was like, we don't have to go, like blah blah. He's like, no, like let's go. I want to be supportive. I was like, we really don't have to go. We can stay home. He's like, no, like it will be good distraction. We go, great night, get back, get him food. He's like, I've just realized that like anything I'm going through, I can get through as long as I'm with you. I was like, oh, that's so nice. He's like, I want to have a more in-depth discussion about this next week. I'm like, oh my God, we've been talking for months. I've been in this situationship, and he's finally gonna ask me. The week comes, this boy just like barely responds. He's like acting so weird. I'm like, what's going on? And then he FaceTimes me one day. He's like, I'm thinking about you right now, and I really love you, and I'm really glad you're in my life. I was like,
that week?
Yeah, okay. He's like, and I really just want you, like, I'm so sorry. I don't deserve you. You're so great. I'm like, okay. I said that to my older brother, and my older brother was like, brace yourself because that man for sure had sex with someone else. And I was like, what? My brother's like, 100%.
It's so real.
Like, what? No, you're so wrong. Like, what do you mean he loves me? Like, he's coming over on Sunday. He had never, like, when I say this guy had never been late, he'd never, like, flaked on a hangout whatsoever. Like, he'd be sick. He's like, oh, I'll come over. I'm, like, taking care of him. He comes late. He literally almost forgets that we're hanging out, comes late, shows up late. He's hanging out with me. Mind you, has not been responsive most of the week. And, like, I haven't seen him all week. And it's now what happened was he had canceled on the plans on Friday. He came over that Monday.
Was this before or after the phone call?
This is after the phone call.
Got it.
And I'm like, he's like being weird as fuck. He's not really like sitting near me or anything. He's laying on my floor instead of sitting with me. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like, and he's like, we watch a whole movie together. Like, I think I showed him Cheetah Girls. And then the whole movie together. He waits till after he goes, oh no. So how was your week? I'm like, it's Monday. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, I meant last week. I'm like, it wasn't great because XYZ, I'm dealing with this and blah, blah, like, how was your week? Also, I'm thinking he's grieving this whole time. I'm like, oh, he's poor grandmother just died.
You don't think anything's going on? No, I'm
like, he's being weird because he's grieving. He misses his grandmother. It's fine. And then he's like, yeah, so my week was okay. It was kind of weird, though. I'm like, why was it weird? Oh, gives me a grocery list. And this is literally how this goes. He goes, yeah, I had to go to the ENT doctor, and, it was kind of weird because they thought something was wrong with me, but it turned out to be fine. Then I had to go pick up medication, and then I went grocery shopping. Some girl at surf camp asked me on a date, so I went on that, and then blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just like brushes past it. I was like, oh, cool.
He kept going?
Kept going. It kept, and
he didn't stop there.
And I knew he wanted the reaction.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not going to give it to him. And so I sat there and I was like, well, that's really fun. And he just stares at me. And I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm like, so what should we watch next? And turns something on. And then he turns to me. He's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you, what's happening? And I'm just like, nothing.
Were you acting
Nothing's
weird, do
wrong.
you think?
I think he knew.
Like, he knew that you were
obviously
annoyed?
She's annoyed, but like he really wanted me to spell it out and say it and like
Right.
have a tantrum. And I was like, cool, like whatever.
Okay.
And then his phone turns on. She was his lock screen. And I was like, what? I'm like, this is not a one date activity. This is not a this just happened activity. Blatant lies. So then I faked sick in my own house to get him to leave my house, okay? And then I literally was like, okay, whatever. It's fine. I'm not dealing with this. All my friends were like, what the freak? And we had mutual friends who were just like, what the fuck is going on? Where did this girl come from? And then a week later, he tells me, like, you're my best friend and I can't lose you as a friend in the long term. So I got to go date someone else. And I'm dating this girl now. And I was like, you're dating this? He's like, yeah, she's my girlfriend. I asked her to be my girlfriend. I was like, okay.
He asked you to hang
Anyway.
out just to tell you that he's not dating you?
Yeah. They're not dating anymore. And who came back into my life instantly as they're not dating anymore? Yeah.
That's that guy.
Different one.
Oh.
But yeah.
Okay. Different one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, this happens a bit.
Apparently.
Just a little bit. It's okay though. We're fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Have you ever had a random man be your lock screen?
No. I have had myself be my lock screen.
That's a slay.
I
That's a good
have
one.
not had a man be my lock screen.
That's so slay.
I think I could be dating
Any
a man
man?
for 4 years and I would not have a man as my lock screen.
You've never made a man your lock screen?
Never.
Even someone you were dating?
No.
Wow. You look so shocked.
Do you? Have you done this?
Yeah. Is that weird? That's not weird. I feel like that's so normal.
I feel like to me it's weird. I don't know. I feel like it's normal for a lot
Okay.
of people. They have you guys. Yeah.
Sydney's back here. She does that.
I've never done that.
Interesting. Do you share your location with guys?
I don't share my location with anyone, not even my friends. Have my fucking location.
Your mom? Wait,
No,
what?
my parents don't have my location. My friends don't have my location. I could go missing today and that's it because I go to too many places I'm not supposed to be at to be having people have my location. And that sounds really sketchy, but that's more like I like to keep my friends group separate.
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep my life separate from certain people. The issue is, okay, I'm 23 years old. I have a production company. Film people, you hang out with film people 24/7. So you become friends with the people you work
Mm-hmm.
with. And I work with a lot of people. Everyone I work with is older than me. I'm the youngest. I'm the baby. I'll be directing. I'm producing, whatever. I'm always the baby in a room full of adults, and people become your friends. Men cross certain lines, whatever. It's a messy situation when it's like you don't want to see your film people all the time. And like for me, like film is not my whole, it's my life, but it's not my whole life. Like I have my surf friends in Huntington and I want to be hanging out with them, but I don't want to deal with the gaffer from whatever set who also happens to be in the friend group having my location, who now is getting my number off a call sheet to shoot me a text. So I don't share my location. And the issue is my guy friends, I complain sometimes about how men see me on the internet and they think like, she's this really serious girl boss girl. Like Sabrina doesn't do that. She doesn't go to parties. She doesn't drink. She doesn't do anything. She is like a serious on set, like about her business. You know, she's a fucking whatever. And I complain about that to my guy friends and they're really innocent and they're not thinking. And then they're like sharing my number. They're like, oh, I met this grip who wanted your number. And I was like, no, like whatever.
Why do so many people have your number?
This is a very often occurrence. I dealt with this morning. I got a random text from a guy. He's like, "Hey, Sabrina, I got your number from." I was like, "Who is this? For what?" He's like, "I just wanted to say, if you ever need a KG on any of your sets, I'm available." I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, totally. Like, I'll add you to my list of people." This man then proceeds to say, "So, how are you? What are you up to this week?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I know you're on set tomorrow with them, but what about Friday?" I was like, "Friday for what?" He was like, "Do you want to grab dinner?" I was like, no, I can't do this. We cannot be talking about work and then talking about, pleasure. So now I've been trying this year and I feel really bad because I love the people I work with and I want to spend time with them, but it gets my wires in my brain all crossed up. And now I try not to be friends with anyone that I work with. I'm like, boundary and leave it alone. Especially because like a lot of the time, these are like, I'm 23. Yeah. These are like 30-something-year-olds talking to me like this. So no one has my location. I don't put my number on call sheets anymore. It's a no. It's a no for me.
It's insane that they're allowed to text you from that.
Yeah, no. Well, they're not.
And they just do.
They just do. They're not supposed to do that, but they do. Right. And this happens a lot to a lot of women I know.
Oh, no.
Industry. It's a very common thing.
That seems like a huge problem.
It is that we don't do numbers on my call sheets anymore. We do emails. We put the emails.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's that. And, it's also just like everyone's always in your business if they have your location. Like, I have friends who watch their other friends like they're like it's a game. Like, then they'll call them and they're like, "Oh my God, why are you at your ex's house?" And I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need you to know that I'm a friend with benefit. Like I said, I don't do random hookups, but if we ended on good terms and I'm bored and you're single and I'm single, we can wind up on good terms again in a different year. So absolutely. I will go back to friend with benefit from 2020 in 2023. I did that last year. And then I don't need my friends being like, "Why are you at this person's house?"
But I'm a yapper. Like, my friends are going to know either way.
Oh, see, yeah, no.
You don't tell people that?
I stopped doing that. Here's the tricky thing, because you have to pick and choose which friends you tell certain things to. I believe in something called complain with intention. So, like, if I'm complaining about an acting gig, like, if I'm like, "Oh, I didn't book this audition, like, I haven't booked the last 13 things," whatever, I will never complain to my actor friends who aren't repped and don't even get auditions or something.
Of course.
So it's the same thing with boys, in my opinion. I'm like, you can't complain to the friend who's, like, really just, like, going through it in a breakup or something. You can't complain to the friends who are like never going on dates. They're like, "I've never dated anyone in my life," and they like really want to experience it. They're constantly searching for it. I have several friends like that, and there's like it's like a weird situation when you start talking about your dating life and then they talk about their dating life and we're all just sitting there like, I don't know what to say to this right now. So you just like can't. And then certain friends also, what I've learned in LA is that certain people are not, they're not friends. They're friends.
Yeah, we've all learned that one the hard way.
Friends.
They're not friends.
Like friends, you know? And like they are waiting. They're really excited about your downfall. And it's like you have followers like that, but you also have friends like that. Yeah. And you don't really realize until you see like there's like a glee when you're like, "Oh my God, this man's treating me like shit." And they're like, "Oh my God, like that's so terrible. Oh my God, tell me more." Like, oh my God.
They have like the biggest smile.
Yeah, they have like a gigantic smile. They're like, "Oh my God, wow.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm
That's
sad.
horrible."
Tell me more." And then when you tell them like the positive things, you're like, "Yeah, he took me to dinner, da da da." They're like, "Cool." Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't want them having my location.
Nobody has that location.
No.
All right. No. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Have you ever had to lie to your friends about where you were and who you were hanging out with then?
I've had to lie to boys about where I am.
Okay.
Not like boys I'm dating.
Yeah.
Like this one guy. Oh, I had a crazy 2 years ago. I got a DM on Instagram. I don't know. It was in response to one of my stories. So I accepted it. I was like going through like random people that I didn't follow back, accepting it because I asked a specific question. And this person responds. I respond. So then because I responded, you know, like Instagram leaves the DM open. So now they can message you at any time and you'll see it. This guy just starts consistently responding to my stories, whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, not really interacting, never followed him back, whatever. A year later, he DMs me saying like, hey, like I'm moving to LA. Around that time, I was having an event at the Gardena Cinema last year. And so it's a public event. I post the event on my story. People show up. And he tells me, he meets me at the Gardena Cinema. He hugs
Uninvited?
me. No, like publicly
You don't know
posted.
he's going?
Never like interacted. I'm like, he's like, thanks for inviting me. I was like, who is this? Like, wait a minute. And I'm like, oh, well, it was like posted to my story. He's like, but I know you meant it for me. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Continues DMing me, tells me like, hey, like I'm moving to LA, whatever. I'm like, no thoughts, just vibes. I'm like trying to be nice about it. I realized I'm like, he's moving from North Carolina. He probably has no friends out here.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anyone. He may just be like a shy guy. Let me not be like a bitch in this situation.
Yeah, which is
so
nice
I just
of
treat
you.
it nice. He asks me for advice on neighborhoods to live in LA. I'm not going to tell him where I live per se, but I said like, here are some decent areas to live in, okay? When I first started TikTok in 2020, I used to live in another complex. This is like a rite of passage complex. Every actor ever has lived in this complex. Every TikToker has probably lived in this complex. It's like you move to LA, you go live in this complex. And I used to make TikToks there. It was very obvious. Comments would be like, oh, she lives here, blah, blah. So does so-and-so. So does so-and-so.
Wait, what's the complex? We'll bleep it. I knew it. We were going to move there. Yeah, we toured there.
Lives there. It's a rite of
That was
passage.
the first apartment we toured.
Yeah. So literally that. You move there, made TikToks. It's very noticeable. Like anyone can recognize this apartment. He winds up moving there, and I only find out because he hits me up to get coffee and tells me that it is because he wants to talk about film. And he's like, hey, like he had his own company at this time. You'll bleep this out, but this is the guy who started that company. Yes. And so this is him. So he's like, let's get coffee. I'm just trying to look for like investing in film. Like that's my next endeavor.
Wait, this is a huge guy.
Yes.
He's so influential. Was he young? Like, was he older?
No. Well, he's like 26.
Whoa.
Like 20. Yeah. And I was like 22.
All right.
This is all last year.
Okay.
And so he says like, let's meet for coffee. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Meet him for coffee. He's asking me for advice, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, I moved next to you. And I was like, what? And he's like, I'm living at. And I'm like,
were you living there at the time?
no.
Oh, okay.
No. But he thought I was because of my TikToks from there. And I was like, did I say that I lived at? And I was super confused because it wasn't registering that was the TikTok. And he was like, oh no, like I feel like I must have seen you post that somewhere. And I was like, I would never post that anywhere. So that's red flag number one. Then he's like talking to me. We're not talking about film at all. This man starts talking to me about like his life story. And there's just something about being a Black girl who dates, like, I've dated some white men, okay? But there's also a very specific type of white man that likes to tell you, like, they want a medal. They'll be like, my family's super racist, but I'm not.
Oh,
so
no.
I've dated Asians before. I've had a Black.
What said that to you?
I've had men say that to me. I've had men also tell me, like, you're my first taste of chocolate. It's so disgusting. It's such a turn off. And I'm like, okay, bye.
More than one man has said this to you?
Multiple men have said this to me my whole life. My
stop
whole
saying
life.
that.
This has been
That
a
is
thing
not
that has come out of
appropriate.
men's mouths. It'll be like we're texting too, like on a dating app, and it'll be going so well. We'll like be bonding. I used to use March Madness as a way to get boys on dating apps because I'd put my bio as like my predictions, and I'd be like, prove me wrong.
Oh, wow.
And then
That's smooth.
they'd just all come in.
That's good.
And
They
then
love that.
men would be like, it'd be going so well. We're agreeing on things. We're arguing. We're having fun banter, whatever.
That's great.
And then they hit me with that chocolate line, and it's just done from there. But this man, he was literally like, yeah, I dated a Hispanic girl before, and my parents didn't like that. But, you know, I don't care what my parents think. And I was like, that's great. Like, okay. And then he was like, yeah, you know, like, what are you looking for? I was like, I'm not looking, I'm all good off of men right now. And he's like, oh. And then we talked about our faith. And I realized, like, okay, maybe I'm still being stupid and just being a bitch here. Maybe he's not weird and he really just needs community.
After all that.
After all that. I
You are an
invite this
angel.
boy to
All right.
church with my friend Jess, and we don't go to, we're not, gung-ho for Jesus Christians, and we go to a different type of church, and he judges it the whole time. Jess gets a flat tire, so we're stuck with this man that I do not know like that. He's judging. Jess is calling AAA. Jess sends us, the AAA guy sends him and I to walk down the street like a few blocks to go to some tire shop and make sure before they close that they have the tire that they need. It's a whole thing. And this man is basically saying a lot of things for somebody that I've met twice now in real life. So I'm like, okay, you know what, Sabrina, you tried all the things. I don't think you're a bitch if you choose to walk away from the situation. Things got terrible very fast because
Worse?
I stopped talking to this man. My Instagram is currently every day. Do you know what I do and what I just hired someone to do every morning? I have robots that now follow me on Instagram every day to fuck up my engagement. And he told me he did it. You know, he invested money. How much money? $500 a month to make sure that my Instagram has robots following me to fuck my engagement so terribly. This man called me over and over and over and over. And finally, I block his number. I get a text one day from this man telling me that he is staying loyal to me even though I want space. A man that I met twice, maybe 3 times because of the Gardena thing. 3 times. And I was like, no. I tell this to my friends. I'm documenting everything. I'm like, he is saying these weird things. I'm scared. I don't like where this is going. What do? My reps, my agents are like, go to the police. You need to file this as a report.
Yes, you do.
Because this is actually stalking. It's officially stalking. So I go, and they're like, we actually can't do anything because nothing has actually happened to you yet. So it's not a crime for the guy to follow you and leave you
So they're
comments
waiting
and
until the
things.
man kills
Yeah,
you?
that's what I was like, oh, great. Thank you. I'll just come back when I've been attacked. So then I drive past my apartment one day, and this man is outside of my apartment building, my current apartment apartment building. And I had to call my friends. And I was like, I can't do this. I really can't do this anymore. I don't know what's going on. My friends come. This man leaves. The security guard was like, that man was waiting here for 2 hours before you came home. I was like, no. I gotta go. I tried to file with that. I'm like, does this? They're like, no. Nothing. You weren't in danger. It's fine.
You weren't in danger?
Nothing happened. You weren't put in harm's way. You weren't harmed. It doesn't count. The most you can do is file an online harassment, but you'd have to be able to prove all of these things. Then one day I get an anonymous account telling me all of these terrible things. And I responded. I was like, yeah, of course you would say that with his name. The account disappeared so fast. I've never seen the account disappear so fast. I was like, confirmation that it's you, mother. I know it's you. And then I was like, listen. And I was on live. And this freaking other anonymous account came in. And I was like, listen, you little fuckface. I will make sure I get my life back. And you're not doing this shit to me. And I kept getting freaking emails and phone calls from these freaking clinics telling me, like, you have an STD. And then they freaking he texted from the freaking, like, you can anonymously send an STD text.
Putting hours into this.
Hours into it to a guy that I was seeing that he knew I was seeing, not at the time, but like from before, like a year before, and he knew about this, and he literally texted this guy. Still to this day, do not know how he got the number. The guy only traced it because he hired a PI because he was like, Sabrina, I know this isn't from you. And I was like, I'm thinking the same thing, but he literally hires a PI. It took 2 months, but they traced it to him and his phone number, and the registration was his email. And I was like, do better, okay? Do better at least hiding yourself. But yes, so that was my life. And then he showed up to a play that I was doing last November, and then because it was publicly posted, and I was like, okay, cool, that's great. And then they asked, like, where are you guys going afterwards? And I was like, oh, I see now why everybody just lies about where they are at all times, and why people post things like 3 days later instead of in the moment. And I never had that issue before. So then now it's like, my location is never my location, and I just tell everybody, like, I'll be like, oh, I'm at this place, but I'm not. And like recently I had one of my guy friends, when I went back to New York earlier this year to go to Juilliard, and I had a bunch of my LA guy friends decide now's the time to tell her that I'm into her when she moves across the country.
I'm sorry, a bunch of your guy friends?
A bunch. It was literally the same type of message sent multiple times that I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought they got together. And then I was like, well, actually, these 3 people don't know each other.
3?
So I'm confused what we're doing. And then I was like, no, let's just keep the friendship going. And then when I came back to LA and I'd be here, like, I would avoid one of their calls because he's a little pushier than the other ones. And everyone else, friendship vibes still there. We're fine. It's all good. It's like, cool. This one guy, no. And then he showed up to my apartment because...
How do all these people know where you live?
He's been there before because he's my friend. Yeah. Well, was. And then showed up to my apartment, and I was like, oh, I'm in Huntington. Like, yeah. And he's like, I can hear your TV. I was like, what? No, that's my brother. And he was like, open the door. And I was like, no, simply no.
That's stalker level.
Yeah, and
Twice?
then that happened another time, and I was at the guy that I've been seeing's house, and I have been keeping that private from people because I just don't want people in it. And he called me, and he was like, oh, do you have like something he left? And I think it was a hard drive.
So you were still friends at this point?
Yes. And I was
after
like,
he showed up at your house?
This is a different one.
Oh.
And he's like, do you have this hard drive that I left?
Another one. And
I was like, yeah, I told you I had it. Like, I can bring it to you tomorrow. And mind you, it was 2 days since this hard drive was an issue. It wasn't like it was gone for missing for months. And then he was like, well, I really need it right now. And I was like,
Well,
see, the thing is, I texted you 2 days ago saying that I could bring it to you at these times or on this date. So yeah, no, and I'm not home right now. He's like, well, I'm just going to come meet you wherever you are. Where are you exactly? I'm like, it's not on me. It's in my house.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. That was the end of the conversation. I go home that night after being at this guy's house. I show up, who's sitting in front of my apartment? And then I'm like, I didn't know you needed the hard drive that bad. He's like, well, I actually just want to hang out with you. Okay.
so you showed up to my house?
Thank you.
To wait for me?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I'll lie. I'll lie about my location all day, every day, all day long. I'm in Huntington. I'm in San Diego. I'm in New York. Pick one. It's fine. All day.
No wonder no one has your location.
Nobody has the location. And nobody's ever going to have the
questioning
location.
you now. 3 times?
3.
3 men showed up to your house.
I'm a stalker, man.
Wait, 2 including the stalker man. Or 3 including the stalker man.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And he just waited? How long was he there for?
According to security, like 2 hours before I showed
No,
up.
the last guy.
Oh, I don't know. I actually have no clue about that. He was just waiting there, sitting in front of my door.
I'm so scared for you.
It's a fun time. The thing is, though, that these ones are all harmless.
Okay.
The stalker guy, I don't know. So I can't be like, he's harmless.
That was crazy. By the way, he saw you in person. Was it like friendly? Were you being nice to him in person?
To the one that was...
The stalker one. He shows up to your show.
Well,
like,
I was
open invite.
at first like,
Right.
what the heck? This is a really weird... I have a great instinct with men.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think...
Do you?
Things that I've been through, I have a good instinct. But
Yeah.
sometimes I just turn the instinct off. And I'm like, don't be that way. Be open to people. And it sucked because he caught me at a time where like I kept saying to all my guy friends in my life, like I literally also told Loki, I was like, I'm going to be more trusting with men now. And I was like, I'm going to start like taking them up on things and trusting them that they're good people. There are good men. There are. I'm surrounded by lots of good men.
Yeah.
So now I can be more open with strangers. And that's why I was like, stop being a bitch and jumping to conclusions, Sabrina. Like, he's probably just, like, he doesn't know anyone. He doesn't have community. No. Never again.
You're so nice to people.
No. That's done. That's done. We're done with that. That door is shut.
All right, well, congratulations, man. You ruined it for everyone else.
I don't answer random DMs anymore, and we're not. No.
Oh, no. Are you, like, on dating apps still?
No,
like, how do you
no.
meet people?
I was only ever on dating apps like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And any guy that I knew through dating apps was like, we stayed in touch and we're friends. So like a lot of the guys I met during March Madness,
Which was
dating apps.
genius, by the way. That is
Right?
so smart. If
It
any
was a
girls are
great
watching,
way.
like, incredible move.
it was a great way. So many of my friends started doing it after,
Yeah.
and it works wonders for them. But it's like really great because I actually love March Madness. So it would work out perfectly because I
great.
get invited to their places to go watch the game. But a lot of them also just were like really good friends, and we wound up just staying really good friends. I'm like best friends with some of these guys to this day, and it's not even like we ever hooked up or anything. Like it just turned into a really great friendship.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's great.
I'm not on dating apps. I'm seeing one guy, and yeah, haven't been on dating apps in a while.
Yeah. It's going well with this one guy.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see. Yeah.
Do you, as I understand it, you like wait to date people, like with this one particular guy, you like know so you spend time getting to know them before you get into a relationship?
Yes, which is why I have so many failed talking stages. But it's like, thank God that those were failed talking stages,
Yeah.
because if a lot of that stuff happened while I was dating someone, I think I'd probably lose my mind. But I would say it's usually like, this one was a 6-month period. We were talking for 6 months, and then 6 months is current. He's been very busy the past month, but it's like currently we hit 6 months, but we've been friends before that 6 months for like years. And now it's like, cool, we can date. It's not like, oh, we're not doing anything in that 6 months. That 6 months is mainly like, okay, I've known you in like a friendship way, and like maybe we both thought each other we were cute or whatever, but it's never like you've gone to explore this person like a partner or anything. So it's like that 6 months is primarily for that period of time, and also just like getting to hang out. And it's like, I think people are grown. My thing with men is like, you're grown. If you want to have sex with other people, go have sex with other people. If you want to do this, then like go do that. I'm not gonna like throw a tantrum and be like, pick me, choose me, love me, Meredith Grey style. Like I'm literally just going to be like, cool, that's what you want to do, cool. I'm never like the type that's like, I want to match your energy now and I'm going to go sleep with like 12 guys, whatever. No, I'm just literally like, cool, I'm into you. That's it. That's all that there is. So it's like, if in the 6 months you want to see other people, cool. You're only okay into one person. Like, I'm going to just be seeing you. And that's how I am. Like, I can't see multiple people at the same time. That's just not how I operate. But yeah, cool. Get a freaking STD test before you come back to me every time. And that's it. He didn't wind up seeing anyone. He was like, I can't do it, which is very odd for him. So like that was interesting. And he was like, I'm actually serious about you. And I would like to only be seeing you. So it's like he was only seeing me, and we were able to kind of figure out our issues. I think that 6 months is also like pretty important, because I think like it's important to date your best friend, but it brings you closer in a friendship way as well. And I think that was our big thing, is like we'll always have the friendship to fall back on. It's like worst case scenario, this doesn't work out, we're not compatible, or you know, like you may have chemistry with someone, but you're not necessarily compatible, or you're compatible with someone, you don't necessarily have chemistry. And that was always our thing, is like we have our friendship to fall back on. And I think a big thing was like, it brought us closer as friends, but it also was like, I'm learning things about you that maybe I only got from the perspective of hearing through stories as your best friend in the past about other people. But now it's like, I'm getting to learn like, what are your flaws in a relationship? And it's like, do I choose to put up with that? Do you choose to work on that type of thing? And I think that's a big thing. And that's been like a big thing for me with growth for the past 2 years, because I think for a long time, I was very much like, oh my God, like all of these guys freaking suck. Like this guy sucks because of this and da 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 da. And then I was like, okay, well, why does this actually hurt your feelings? And like, what's wrong with you in this sense? And like nothing's really wrong, but it's like you have stuff to unpack that I think a lot of people don't realize they do. And it's been like, for the past year, I've been in like a lot of healthy situations and things like that, where it's like I can easily walk away from something and I'm like, why am I sticking around for guys that I can walk away from, still be friends with, and have in my life in that way that they fulfill me, but they don't fulfill me as a partner? And that's okay. And like the same thing of like, why does it upset you if a guy brings whatever girl to the club, like blah blah blah? It's like, and you're not dating this guy, like what's that being triggered by? And like, where do your trust issues stem from? And all these different things.
Even if it's a guy that you're seeing,
if it's a guy I'm seeing, it's a different story. It's like, I don't want it near me, do it on your own time. I'm like, if we're not dating and you've made it clear like we're not exclusive, then that's fine, go ahead, do you. But it's like, I'll make it clear to them always, like, I'm choosing you and I'm not seeing other people, which is like, I just want the respect of like, don't bring it around me, don't do it with someone I know who I'm friends with, don't do it in public, don't flaunt me in public and then flaunt someone else, like don't make me look stupid. And then also like, don't bring me a freaking disease. But also like, I don't get into anything with anyone without test, so those results are locked and loaded before anything happens.
That's a great way to do it.
I
feel the same way. Like if I'm seeing someone new, like I won't be seeing other people. But even if we're not dating, I don't know if I could like know that somebody, the guy you're seeing, is seeing someone else. Like, do they tell you, or is that something you want to be kept a secret?
Usually I ask for it just because I don't ever. Okay, also the guy I'm seeing now, this is the first time that I've like not really told people. Only because last year it hit me after Mr. Laying on the Floor Cheetah Girls movie man that things are only embarrassing when it's in public. Like, you cannot embarrass me by being like, oh yeah, I slept with another girl. I'd be like, damn, that sucks. I actually loved your ass. Bye. It's only embarrassing when you have to go back to people, your friends, and you're like, so remember when I was like, he's the one last week, or like, I really feel a strong connection, and like, I brought him to whatever function, and everyone's like, oh, damn. And that's the only way that things are embarrassing. And this is the first relationship that I've like kept private.
Yeah.
And I don't post on Instagram. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I won't ever post a man. I don't care how long I'm dating him. I don't care. I literally do not care. And I know women say that. I do not care. It will not go up until I'm literally married. I will post my wedding photo and that will be it. And people will not even have known I'm engaged unless they're like, oh my God, she's wearing a rock on her finger.
That's crazy.
What the freak? I will never address it ever in my entire life. And that has happened to me several times where men will post me and I will not post them back. And I'm not even one of those girls who's like, I expect you to post me, blah, blah, blah. And like, no, I understand, especially guys in the industry where it's like, I understand it affects your brand. It affects my brand. Like my whole thing is like women, girl power, blah, blah, blah. Like I literally post a man and I get like DMs from men being like, who the fuck is this? Like it could be my gay best friend. Like, they're like, who's this? Blah, blah, blah. I get it. It's like your brand, your image, your thing. Internet is a persona thing. But like, I don't need the world in my relationships. And this has been so good for that reason. But I think also because it's the first time where it's like, I'm also getting the same respect of like, if you're not seeing anyone, I'm not seeing anyone.
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
The first time?
It's the first time. I think they've all like usually taken that opportunity. I think people like guys usually look at it as like, oh, she's kind of like giving me a golden ticket here. It's like I get her with the emotions and then I also can go have sex with whoever I want. And they do tell me. I mean, I'd rather know because I'm like, I don't want to be, you know that TikTok sound? And that's what I get for saying, my man, my man, my man. That's exactly how it feels. It's like, okay, I went around and said, this guy's so great, da, 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 da. And then it's like some other girl is like, hey, girly.
Hey. No.
Yeah.
I feel like that would give me the ick knowing that they are with other people.
If it's like a thing of like, I don't see you often. So I was seeing this guy last year, 2 years ago. I don't know. He lived in Florida. He was here. He'd come and visit California whenever, like for maybe a week, 2 weeks at a time every now and then. And it'd be like one of those things where it's like, I was only talking to him. Like we weren't even talking in the sense of like, if he was in Florida, we wouldn't talk. I mean, he'd call me, but like we'd maybe have a conversation like every few weeks. It wasn't like consistent texting. It wasn't like we were FaceTiming, anything like that. But he's the only guy I was like hooking up with or actually like seeing and going out with at that time. And that was just whenever he was in town. Otherwise, I wasn't seeing anyone.
Okay. Did he know
was
that?
In Florida, and he'd be seeing other girls, and it's like I wasn't gonna be upset about it because it's like I'm not in Florida, but you know, it's like I feel like it's kind of different when it's like you're in the same place and everything,
100%,
consistently seeing the person.
Yeah,
I haven't really experienced that except this one guy I was talking to who's a musician.
What?
He's a musician, and he was seeing several girls at the same time, and he had us all at one party together, and we didn't know. And I only found out because I was wearing one of his bracelets, and this girl came up to me and was like, "Oh my God." She's like, oh my God, are you And then I was like, am I what? And she just stopped her sentence. And I looked down at her arm and she had his other bracelet. And I was like, oh, well. And he had this little thing, like I was playing with his bracelets. And one time he was like, oh, we're not there yet, but almost. And he gives them to you and he's like, I'm taking you seriously. And then I looked around the room and there were 5 girls with the same, each one had one of his bracelets.
No.
And it was funny because I didn't even think about the fact that like when he gave it to me, like others were missing.
Yeah.
Because he wears so many.
Right.
So that was fun.
So you found out at this party.
Yeah, at this party.
Right.
And like none of us really said anything.
What a spoon. He knew.
Like, okay, cool. Yeah. And he practically got away with it. It was like the end of the night.
As if you weren't going to notice that you were all wearing the same bracelet.
Not my brightest moment. And that was one. That was one where I was like, oh, my man. He's so great. He's so great. No.
Nope.
And the friends were like, but like don't date musicians who go on tour. Like, don't date a guy who goes on tour. It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I can't even blame him at that point. A different city every night, different girl from a different
all these
place.
girls are from the same city. These
Yeah,
are just the LA ones.
These ones are just the LA.
These are just the LA girls. Oh no.
Yeah, no.
Okay, now we're going to do a red flag, green flag. So basically, it's a rapid fire. I'm going to list a bunch of flags, and you're going to tell me if you think it's red, green. You can even throw yellow in there if you want to.
Love that.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Let's get started. All right, first one. Actors.
Ugh.
Red flag. I agree.
Yeah.
They're seeing too many women.
Oh.
I feel like they think what happens on set stays on set.
As an actor, I agree.
Okay, next one. Models. Red flag. Okay, why?
It's the same situation as actors. It's the same exact thing, in my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. I've never dated a model, so I wouldn't know. But for that reason, because I assumed.
I think
I'm
also
glad
they're
to
at
have
a lot of parties all the time, so they have easy access to
it. Easy access.
party lifestyle.
Speaking of professional athletes.
It depends on the sport.
Yellow flag.
It depends on the sport.
Depends on the sport. All right. I know. What about baseball?
Yes, green.
Green flag?
I agree.
Do you agree?
Big green flag.
That's
Baseball.
Sydney back there, everyone. Big green flag. Football.
No.
Red flag. All right.
No.
What else is there? Hockey?
Green.
Green flag. I agree. They're so hot. I love them.
They are.
Good men. Basketball.
Red flag. Red flag. If you want to get cheated on,
Mm-hmm.
marry a basketball player. I promise.
Good advice. I like it.
I promise.
She knows. You speak from experience?
I've got friends. That's NDAs. That's some NDAs. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Influencers.
Oh, depends on the type.
Yellow flag.
Yellow flag. If they're like, they make relationship content, red flag. If they make dance videos, I feel like green flag. Because there's not really much going on there that you're losing. Okay. Anyway, if they make like, they have a hobby, that's something they do, green flag.
Okay. Yeah, I like those. I feel like talent's so attractive.
Yeah.
And they're also good people. Damn. I'm a relationship actually. Okay, anyway. Never post on social media. Like once a year, maybe. Once every 2 years. Maybe even twice a year.
He doesn't post, but he is like, he
scrolls.
looks.
He looks. But he's not a poster.
Yellow, because I can understand like most men are not photogenic and they're not posing for the camera like that. So maybe he doesn't really want to be throwing himself like that
Yeah.
on the gram.
Okay. But them scrolling, red flag.
No.
All right.
I can understand because you like want to keep up with stuff, but maybe you yourself are not about the content life.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Keep it up to date. I agree. I know yellow flag is a good one.
Yeah.
All right. He does post, but he only posts about the gym. They're all gym posts.
Red flag. Red flag.
I agree. Red flag.
Oh, no.
You have to have more to your life. Like, it's great to have hobbies.
It's great. I mean, gym rats are... They look great.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
They
you
do.
have something that you love that much.
Yeah.
I just feel like we should be allowed to see more of like what's in your life.
Respectfully put. I like that. I respect it. All right. He has your location, but you don't have his.
Absolutely not. What?
I disagree with that one.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like I've sent guys my location. I feel like everyone has my location. If I ever lost my phone, I would die. Like, I need someone to have access to my location and know where it is.
That's
in order
a
to like
friend
get it back,
thing,
you know?
not the man you're seeing thing.
But that's the man I talk to
You
every
don't
day.
have his location though. He's hiding secrets from you, and you're just being an open book with him.
Yeah, I think that's.
No, absolutely not. And that's like serial killer behavior.
Is it a secret though? Maybe he's just like a private person. I'm embarrassing myself.
Whatever you have to tell yourself to sleep at night, that's okay.
Okay. He'll come back on the podcast in like a year, and we'll have made a lot of progress since then.
Location never.
I'll tell you that right
Location never.
Okay, next one. He has an iron deficiency.
That's a red flag. Because
Wait, I would have said green flag. Why do you say red?
deficiency.
Iron deficiency. I feel like it's something to bond over. It's relatable.
No,
You can have more iron together.
No. No, because anything like any deficiency of any kind. See, my issue is like, if something's wrong, I'm like, fix it now. Like, you know what the issue is. Like, I
That's
don't
fair.
like men who tell me they haven't eaten. You know, like most girls in the relationship are usually the one that are like, I've only had one meal. I have a headache. Why? For some reason, men I date will be the ones, like, I'm put together in that sense. And the men I date are like, oh my God, like, my body hurts. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, well, you ate a pack of cookies. You didn't drink any water all day. And like, no. So iron deficiency is just not going to work for me.
Yeah, no, I never thought about it like that, but valid. Red flag. I changed my answer.
Red flag.
Red flag, boys. Take your iron tablets. All right. He wears Old Spice Fiji deodorant.
Red flag.
Red flag. Agreed. Immediate red flag.
Immediate red
Switch
flag.
your deodorant then. It's like, what's that? Dior Sauvage? Red flag. Huge red flag. Don't do that one. Sydney knows.
No.
Sydney posts about this.
No.
He never wears a belt.
I'm only on green because
I'm shocked. Green flag.
only because it means his pants probably fit him really well.
Belts are hot. They're hot.
What are you doing with your belts?
You're taking it off.
But you're taking the pants off regardless.
Yeah,
so
no. It's just like a little added.
I feel like there's
Sparkle.
more. There has to be
It's a little
more
sparkle.
happening with the belt for it to be this green of a flag. I don't know about that.
That's why you're giggling back there.
50 Shades of Grey type.
No, that's not what I had in mind, for the record. Okay, this man uses more than 3 hair products.
Yes.
Green flag.
Yes. What?
I would have gone red. 3 to 4. That makes it 4. 4 is excessive.
Do you know how many hair products? I have curly hair. For those who can't see, I
you're a
am
girl.
very much black with curly hair.
You have a lot of
and
hair.
I use products. I use products. This doesn't just happen. Products are used. The 3 products He cares.
Yeah.
He has a routine. He's probably very clean because he really cares about his appearance, the health of his hair, the state of his hair.
I like that.
He is managing it. He's put together.
Okay.
That's somebody you want to, yep.
Husband.
I bet he doesn't use 3-in-1 shampoo. For sure. For sure.
That is the biggest red flag of them all. You're right about that.
Yep.
Okay. I'm changing my mind on everything right now. Okay. He goes to the bathroom, leaves the toilet seat up. Red flag, green flag.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Just put it down.
Inconsiderate.
Just put it down.
Easy. Put it
Why
down,
is
boys.
it so difficult? I don't understand.
Truly. All right. When a man says, I'm sorry you feel that way. Red flag.
Okay.
Yellow flag.
So I call this the undercooked man. This is
We need a graphic for that.
okay. So think of like a pancake,
Yeah.
and you have your perfect pancake.
Yes.
However, there's the pancake next to it that you put after the perfect pancake. You had added it to the pan.
Right.
So it's a little undercooked, but maybe you take them off at the same time, forgetting that you added that one later.
Right.
So some men are undercooked, and you are not there to fall in love and marry this man. Your sole purpose is to teach this man and cook him. It is that TikTok trend of someone cooked here.
Yeah.
Your job winds up being to tell this man how to emotionally communicate and not enforce trauma on women.
Yeah.
And then he leaves you, or you leave him, whichever. And he finds the next one, and he applies everything that you taught him
You're just
to the
teaching him
next,
for the next one.
So when he says sorry, you feel that way, he's just undercooked because he probably has not experienced someone explaining to him the difference between I'm sorry I said that and I'm sorry you took it this way. So he could be an undercooked man.
Yeah.
However, if that man has had more than 3 relationships, there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. And if that man is over the age of 24, we cannot keep making these excuses. You do not count as an undercooked man. But
Okay. I love that.
that is why it's yellow.
That's a great take. I'm going to use that one. Undercooked.
Pancakes.
Perfect. The pancake visual was great. That's all the red flag, green flags I have. Thank you for doing that. I feel like you have some great takes on things that I will be keeping in mind for my situations and for coming on Heartbreak Hotel. It was so great having you.
It was great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Where can people find you if they want to follow along with you?
At Sabrina Lassegue on Instagram and at Directed by Brittany on TikTok.
I love it. All right. Well, we'll see you soon. Thank you guys for checking in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.